This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Strap yourself in,
because we're set up, switched on and ready to go.
Eight, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
and it's live.
Good evening, England fans, I guess. Yeah, there might be a few Scots and Welsh in here as well, and anything else we don't worry about. How are you doing? What a day! Probably the last day of the group stage has turned out to be the best day of the group stage. I mean, 8:30, I think we were playing Portugal, then we were playing Germany, then it was Hungary, then Germany again, then France. As somebody once said before, bring on the Germans. Yeah, that's what it's going to be. Hey, it's the Euro 2020 show. Good evening.
It's the Euros 2020 with Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV.
It is, and you can get us live now on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV. Please give us a subscribe, like. As I said, I always say, whatever the button is, press the button. But we would really, really, really appreciate your subscriptions. Facebook, Leicester Till I Die, the group. And if you live in the Twitter sphere, at Leicester TID. Well, there's two things we could compare here. Right at the start, I said I wasn't going to do any Euro shows. I think this is like the second or third I've done, certainly this week, probably about the fourth or fifth in total. So, yeah, that lasted well, didn't it? Didn't
North Macedonia are going to win it. Get your bets on. You heard it here first. North Macedonia are going to wipe the floor of the tournament. Shock of the decade, shock of the century, you name it. You thought 5,000 to 1 was good odds. Well, listen to it. Get your bets in. North Macedonia to not just get out of the group, but they're going to win it. North Macedonia, come on.
What are you? Some kind of doomsday machine, boy?
You know what? Any excuse to play that. And in fairness, this is probably the last day I can play it. Go say good evening to Ann Kit from RC by and Chelsea Fan TV. Give him a subscription there on YouTube. Some good shows. I'm going to say good evening to Melina. How the devil are you? Won't mention Germany. Who are you going to pick, Melina? I've got to ask this. Who are you going to go for on Tuesday, England or Germany? I know you're a big England fan, but you got a little bit of a liking for Germany. So I want to know, Melina, who are you going for? You say this. We shall see. We shall see. That's just coming up as black flags. I don't know. Yes, maybe it's the white flags of surrender. Well, you are an Arsenal fan after all. Hey, and let's not forget, like I say, please, if you are watching us on YouTube now, press that subscribe button. And if you want to catch us afterwards and you sooner listen to us rather than watch us live, and I'll tell you what, I'm bringing in a minute only only Mr. June. Oh, yes, indeed. I'm bringing in Mr. June from the Men Only calendar. So, but you may want to listen to us rather than watch us. Get us on the podcast about 5-10 minutes after the end of the show. Spotify, Apple iTunes, Google, and Amazon, to name but four. Talking of Mr. June, let's bring him in. Good evening, sir.
Evening, Chris. Evening.
It is Mr. June. You are Mr. June, aren't you?
No. The only calendar I'll be posing for, mate, trust me, is Chewbacca lookalikes calendar. When I get the amount of hair that's all over my body, I tell you that much. Chewbacca's my stunt double, not the other way around. I'm certainly on this. I'm definitely on the Muscle Man calendar.
Chewbacca and his crackback and sack.
Well,
one of them.
That's the title I got given, but that's not supposed to be leaked now. I've lost that job. Cheers, mate.
Sorry, mate. Sorry. And are you good? You must be pleased that this stage is over now. That you probably are not going to see your North Macedonia rant anymore.
I'm going to kind of miss it, I think. But yeah, I'm kind of also glad that I'll get that monkey off my back now. It's going to be put in the filing cabinet, and Hungary bottled it as well, so I can't even latch onto them for a shock.
What should we do, guys? Let me know in the chat. Should we let this North Macedonia drop, or should we just carry on till the end of the Euros? Let us know. Bit of fun tonight. That's all it is. Just a little bit of fun, because a while ago, just before the tournament started, me, Brad, and Craig has good luck tomorrow. Yeah, Scott. Sorry, it's Scott. Scott, we did our prediction. Well, these two did the predictions, which is why you had North Macedonia. That was nothing to do with me at all.
Watch that video. He was going to put them through to the group stages, people. Go on. I'm just saying. Yeah, knockout. Go and check it. Video evidence. So
I was trying to make you feel better.
Yeah.
But Scott has probably been clever and decided to have an early night tonight and not come on. He's got a job interview tomorrow, so good luck, Scott. Hope it goes well for you, mate.
I was going to say early nights. What are them? I don't know what they are. But
no. I have early mornings. Is that the same?
I go to bed in the morning, and I guess so.
You go to bed, that's the main thing. Anyway, bit of fun tonight. We're just going to see how close we came. And up until tonight's game, out of a possible 24 points, Brad, we scored 8.
Oh, all right. Well, so we did all right then.
I think if you were at school now, that was a could try harder mark, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
but anyway,
it'd be nice to see anyone who's watched a few of these to see if some stato in the comments wants to show us actually how well we've done compared to others that have done this. Maybe see how well we've really done.
Yes, yeah. Melina says, what a game today. Which game? They were all great games. When I left Spain at 3-0, that was 5. The other game in that group ended up 3-2. I'm not sure if this is good or it's an insult. Big up yourself, Brad. I'm saying nothing.
I'll try, Melina. I'll try.
Whatever you do, it's up yourself, Brad. What can I say? I think it means something different in Canada. I really think it means something different in Canada.
I think it does, because it's been myself for a while, mate, but that's for another topic on another podcast on another channel.
It's like saying hi. Yeah, okay, Melina.
Don't worry, I'm not lost on that one. I know the American slang. Don't worry.
Oh, bless you, Melina. Yeah, now she's really trying to defend herself now. Big up means like hi. Yeah. Okay. It's not the big up that I was worried about. It was the up yourself. That was the bit that I was like, do you wear glasses, Brad? Because I think you might need them when you've been doing that. But let's have a look how we did, shall we? And I've got to be honest with you, Brad. I was impressed because we started off. Well, I say we, I was in the royal we now. We started off at a bit of a canter because we got the top two right.
Yeah, we did. And to be honest with you, I think at the time we said Turkey, we probably backed Turkey more than Switzerland, but I think we can definitely be forgiven for getting them to the wrong way round. It was going to be. It was literally a case of either or.
We did have Turkey as third, and going through as one of the three, best ones.
But I think I would feel that I'm pretty confident that a lot of people were disappointed by the fact that Turkey didn't get out of that group, and not only didn't get out, but went out on 0 points. So I'm happy with 50% from that group. I'd be happy with most of that all the way through, but it doesn't sound like we're getting that.
the 8 out of 24 is a bit of a giveaway there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if you do want a serious look at the group stages, Friday night at 7, we are doing a proper review of all the group stages. I've got an Englishman, Scotsman, and Welshman coming in, and I'm sure there's a joke in there.
You said you're doing a serious review, and then you said there was a Scotsman, mate. Make up your mind. It's not serious, I'm not.
Yeah, but that's just so we can take the piss out of him.
Oh, yeah.
I did give him the option to back out, and he hasn't done. But yes, I think I've got to be honest with you. It was you and Scott that went for Wales there.
Yeah, well, that was my first mistake. I really should have learned, because I also pushed for Wales to top the group, because I thought that they would do well. And to be fair, they did do well, and they, on another night they may have got the results to top that group with what happened, but it wasn't to be. And I think in the end it was more likely to get that outcome, and that's exactly what it was. Italy won the group.
They did. Okay, shall we have a look at what happened in Group B, which was Belgium, Denmark, Finland, and Russia. We got another two.
And you know what? With everything that's happened in football, I don't like repeating it, but it's one of the things that's never going to be forgotten from this tournament for all the wrong reasons. Unfortunately, I'm so happy that we got Denmark right.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it's one of them where you didn't want to see them crash out and burn, but you also felt at that point that Denmark just either needed to go out in a blaze of glory or do what they did, and they got second place. I think Belgium was predictable. I don't think there's many people that had gone for Belgium to not be top of that group. So in the end, considering Denmark were down and out in everybody's eyes, everything that had gone on looked like it'd been too much of them, to come out of that last group game and finish second, I'm fairly happy again to get 50% right on that one.
Yes. And I think after everything that went on with that group, with Christian Eriksen and Timothy Castagna, who came very, very close to being blinded in one eye, I think the fact that we got through that group at all, but I think, we everybody said, I think the fact that that game went ahead was a travesty, if I'm honest with you, and only time will tell whether, there were what UEFA was saying about the Finnish Denmark game was right, because the Danes are coming out and saying it wasn't. So that could be interesting. But we actually, again, we got the bottom two wrong.
which again was swings and roundabouts. It's Russia, Finland, weren't it? I think if you basically in the first two groups, if you've gone with what you would have been heavily predicted to finish with the likes of Belgium, Denmark, and Italy, Wales, respectively, you've either got 50% or you're 100% by the bottom two. I think. I don't think any shocks have come up at the top order in the first two groups.
But I think looking at those first two groups, and Alan Shearer picked Turkey as his dark horses, and like I said the other day, I think it was more like McDonald's horses.
Definitely.
Yeah, and you've gone a bit dark as well. You were.
It's because I'm downstairs filming, and
right, okay, not a problem. You look like a head and nothing else.
Better or worse, but it's just because of the
well, the fact that you got the beard, I can just about see your eyes. It's like in one of the paranormal films at the moment. But you wouldn't have had Turkey. You wouldn't have had Turkey coming bottom, would you?
No, again, that's what I mean. You've either gone against the grain and not took a liking to Turkey and put them. I reckon unless you've done that in your head before, like I said, a lot of people probably had Turkey to come third. So if you've somehow got 100% from that first two groups, you've probably gone lesser favour for the bottom two in the first one, and you probably got the second ones.
Again, I mean, with Russia. with Russia, you would have. I mean, it's Finland's first ever, competition that they've got through to. So you'd have thought on Russia, and all right, their last, thing was on home soil the last time they played. But those to me are two minor shocks there. Turkey and Russia coming bottom.
I don't know. Turkey more than Russia. But you know my
You
opinion
don't like
Russia.
the Russians, though, do you?
No, I don't.
Mr. Putin, I like the Russians, Mr. Putin, but it's Brad who is the one with the beard. He is the one that doesn't. In fact, just in case you're looking in, Mr. Putin, just in case you're looking in here, I just want to do this. Okay, so it's Brad that doesn't like you. That's the one with the name there. You can see the names. And if anybody speaks Russian, tell me how you spell Brad in Russian. I'll be all right. Now, we got those two, but it kind of goes downhill a little bit after that, Bradders. Group C. So, Group C, we was of the Netherlands and Austria going through, Ukraine and North Macedonia going out. Yeah. And I think if nobody got the fact that the Netherlands were going to win that group.
Yeah.
Definitely. I just think that you.
To be fair, I honestly, I wasn't on drugs when I said North Macedonia would go through, even though it might have sounded like it.
It wasn't the best connection, I think, in fairness to you.
Well, but to be honest, this was again a difficult group where there's probably more people out there that haven't got these three in the right positions because to be honest, all kidding aside, North Macedonia for me were that one where you just, when you just look through a tournament tree, you think which team do I want to cause the biggest upset, and they never made it. They were the North of Macedonia, about the rest of it, whatever the rest were doing, they got through. They were that pinnacle of the story of reminding us of underdogs, and that probably put us and Scott and yourselves in a bit of position because I was so passionate about it. But again, could have got all three of them right.
I remember now. I don't.
Just what it was.
I wouldn't have put North Macedonia through at this stage, but I would have done. I think it was later on in the tournament when we got through to the knockout stage that had you gone for North Macedonia, I jokingly said that I would have chosen them to win the knockout game.
Yeah. But it's one of them at the end of the day. If I would have gone probably more with the head and we'd have come to a decision collectively, I think I put the passionate argument that got Scott on board. So I draw them out. I draw the belief out in people. So I know I've got that about me. But unfortunately, we got three wrong, and I have to take the blame on that for my faith in North Macedonia let me down.
But it would have been a great story, wouldn't it? Like
exactly.
You say, we were doing the fantasy groups, and it was a bit of a fantasy choice, but it would have been nice.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. If it had come third, I'd have still been happy. I'd still said I'm right.
Ankit there did say on Australia that would have been a surprise. Austria come in, although having said that, they are in the Eurovision, so who knows? But no, Austria come in second. That surprised me, but I do like to see these teams that don't normally do well, shall we say, doing well.
Yeah, again, I don't know if it's a surprise because it's not like North Macedonia had a certain group of death like Hungary did. They had a group which, against Austria, they could have got a result, and Austria could have come bottom. And again, the Ukraine, they're not the most. Is it the right word to say? They're not the most glamorous of oppositions.
No, they only beat North Macedonia. They lost the other two.
Yeah, so it was a group that had the chance for any of them three in all realism to say we have a chance of getting out of this group, whether it's second or third, and it kind of played out that way. At the end of the day, the three teams. I don't know the third position. I don't know if they've gone through or not. Whoever's third in that group, but
Ukraine have gone through.
Yeah, they have gone through. So the three that were expected to be there have been there, but that was never a guarantee when you look at them playing each other from results we've seen not just tonight but throughout the tournament.
Switzerland went through as third. Finland didn't. Ukraine did. Now, we come on to Group D, which was England, Croatia, Czech Republic, and Scotland. And I think, is this where we burst into the? I mean, Scotland. How, if I was playing the game of sort of, that game where you've got to describe something without actually saying the word, how would you describe the Scottish football team? And that is basically having an orgasmic celebration over the fact they got a 0-0 draw. And that was the highlight of the whole tournament.
Wow, second only to being back in time before the bins get put out.
Love it. I was going to say, can you hear Scotland sing? No. Yes, I mean, Scotland, well done with your 0-0. I mean, that was sort of, the highlight of the tournament, wasn't it? And it was well worth going on to. It reminded me very much of that, after the FA Cup final when it showed that Chelsea fan. And he was celebrating Chilwell's goal, and then it sort of dawned on him that it was VAR had cancelled it out. Yeah, I mean, it's like, it was one of those moments, I'm afraid, Scotland. You, as usual, you were absolute shite. Shite.
Well, like I said, mate, they waited 23 years to get to a tournament, only to last less than 23 days.
Yeah, it's a bit like waiting 30 odd years to win your first Premier League, and then failing again the next season, isn't it? Really, Liverpool.
Yeah, it's just like making up the numbers, isn't it? It's just what they were there for.
Yeah. So we got the bottom two right. Well, it's reversal here.
Annoyingly, we probably got the bottom. We probably got the harder end of this group right compared to the top end, because we picked this more tactically, didn't we? We remember 2018 when it all seemed that Southgate planned for us to finish second in the group, and with everything that's about to come forth in the group that we already knew before a ball was kicked in the tournament that we would probably get, which has turned out to be, we'll get to that in a minute, it would be either Portugal, France or Germany. And we probably picked England to come second more on the fact that we thought that England would tactically go about finishing second, less than maybe them finishing second. But as we've kind of done the right thing, in my opinion, and take rivals into account and not be all hugging and throwing arms around each other going, oh, you're Scotland, you're the home nations. No, sod them. We thought we know the crap. We said they were crap. We don't like them. It's nothing, it's nothing about all this home nations rubbish. We put them bottom, and we're probably one of the few that actually stuck to our guts, mate, and went, no, we don't like Scotland. We want you to come bottom, so that's where we put you. So
as they say.
Unbelievable, Jeff!
Yeah, definitely. I'm very happy that we got that end of the table right. There's probably going to be more that got England top because it's advantageous than we did. But
And I just totally, I mean, none of this sort of, well, it's part of the British. It's like saying that if Manchester United can't win the Premier League, do they want Man City to win it?
No,
do they small round spherical objects hanging between a dog's legs? No, they don't, It's the same. Why should we? Scotland don't want us, They sort of say, they sort of, the biggest hard on they'd had for 20 years when they got the 0-0 draw with us, and why should we want Scotland?
The two most desperate signs from most of their fans, and I say most of them because there is some decent people I know from Scotland that don't include in this, but their two moments they'll be cheering forever from this tournament will be the 0-0 draw against England, and unless we win it, whoever knocks England out. And how sad is that going to be that you take it so badly that you'll be potentially cheering Germany?
Yes.
That's just like, no, I just wouldn't care. If that was roles reversed, I wouldn't care. The Euros,
to be honest with you, I'm going to be totally honest with you, I was actually cheering Croatia the other night.
Because we wanted them to finish bottom. It was funny. They had a relevance to it, but now they don't have a relevance to us. No longer in the contest. If it was the other way around and we had no relevance to them, I wouldn't care about Scotland playing Germany. I'd be like, so what? I don't care. I'm not
Czech
cheering
Republic,
Germany.
as Ankit said there, Czech Republic was a surprise. They ended up coming third. They were top going into the games the other night. And I mean, to be honest with you, I think it was the fact that we were both. It was a dead end game, wasn't it? I mean, the idea of having this third place playoff was to try and get rid of these dead end third game games, and yet that's what it developed because it. At half time, we had a really good first half. The second half was like, well, all right, we're through.
Yeah, and we've discussed this a bit on the last show that maybe it's just something that needs to be changed. Football's forever changing. This is just something they've tried, and you kind of saw it at the end in both the Hungary, Germany, and France, Portugal game tonight. It's a bit disappointing that stoppage time because as soon as Portugal and France got headway of the score full-time whistle at Germany-Hungary, they knew it didn't matter, so they just didn't bother with playing football for 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I get it. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I get it. I get why they did that. But again, it causes concern that games can end prematurely. I mean, England, we said it yesterday, mate, we'll qualify, we're through to the next round, no matter what, before the ball was kicked. So once they were ahead, it didn't matter if Czech Republic equalised, it just changed their first and second. What really mattered is who was going through with them. And at the end of the day, it's the Scots that are going home and it's the Croatians nicked it in the end. I mean, it is what it is.
And well done to the Czech Republic. They go through as a third option. Yeah,
and at the end of the day, I mean, this was also the counterbalance I said to you, wasn't it? That teams like this get a chance to go through because we have lost a few nations in previous tournaments that have been done out on goals difference or head-to-head records. I don't know if it's ever been that close. That might be a bit of an exaggeration, but it's been something along that lines that might have cost a nation like that previously to not go through because they lost out on goal difference. And this is why it's just a difficult thing to do to do a tournament. I mean, we discussed other options, didn't we, yesterday about either extending the group or doing it differently. But we'll see. I'm happy to see certain teams like that make it through when they've deserved to go through on their performances over 3 games.
And I mean, we've got to say it again, haven't we? Like, what happened to Scotland? I just like saying that. I just like asking the question because I like your answers.
They came, they called, they asked for their freedom, and then they fled. That's what happened.
They did. Group E. Let's have a look at Group E. Now, Group E, we had Slovakia, Spain, Poland, and Sweden. Let's have a look. And, we actually... surprisingly, because looking at that under normal circumstances, you'd think that Spain would be favourites to go through, wouldn't you?
It's weird. I'm actually happy that we were the ones that probably, again, one of the few that bravely went for Spain to finish second, because I bet you a lot of people had got Spain slugging it through second, maybe 7 points or 5 points or whatever. And then the other 3 in any old particular order. There wasn't really too much of a greater strength. Probably a bit more talk about Sweden, which is why they've ended up top in the group, because they're probably the horse that hasn't been mentioned, or the horse's name is Friday, if you want to quote the famous riddle. But apart from that, again, it was probably, like I said, 2 teams where you could have put 3rd and 4th and it wouldn't have mattered. We went a bit outside the edge by back in Poland. I think the powers of Lewandowski was there in the mind of thinking they would do better than what they did. But I'm happy to say that we got the Spain right. In a weird way, I'm glad we got 1 out of the 3 wrong. If we're going to get 3 wrong, I'm glad it's not Spain. I'm glad we're not doing what we did with the Netherlands group and getting the obvious one right.
I mean, just first of all, explain this famous poem. Now, because you lost me.
I'm just saying, like, we got Spain. We got the famous poem. Oh no, it's a famous riddle saying you rode.
Riddle. You said, didn't you?
Yeah. You came into town on Friday on a horse on Friday, and it's. It's one of them when it turns out the horse's name is Friday, and that's how you left on a Friday, and it's just a riddle.
Right, I'm glad I asked. I think I prefer to go
one
with
of them that I kind of snuck in there, and if anyone knew the riddle, they'd have got what I meant by it.
Yeah, I think I prefer the America song, "A Horse with No Name." But yeah, I mean, and Sweden, Poland 3-2, and Spain stuck 5 past Slovakia.
Yeah, one probably more slightly predictable, although it was a bit more of a goal galoot than we've been used to watching England play. But I probably wasn't overly surprised with Sweden going through. Probably surprised that they got third place. They got third place and not third, but I wasn't surprised to go through. Looking at our predictions, probably surprised that we went with Poland, who failed miserably in the groups. Again, another one of them clubs that
stop this. I had no say in any of these.
Yeah, Scott. I'm referring to we as Scott. Scott's not here to do this, so I'm including him in this.
You're doing the royal we, are we?
I definitely am, mate. We are definitely taking all the blame for this.
Right. Well, we've got Group F coming up, and as we know, that's the big one that has literally just finished. So we're going to be back, and we'll have a quick look at that after this.
Leicester Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
Right, Group F, young man. I mean, we were talking during the game on social media, and funnily enough, and we hadn't planned this, but you were watching the Hungary-Germany game, and I was watching the France-Portugal game, and it's just the way it was. We've got there's another goal. My game was a game full of penalties, I've got to be honest with you. And I think the most obvious one was one that wasn't given. But at one point, like I say, I think we started off, I said right at the top of the show, I think we started off playing Portugal, played Hungary, then we went to Germany and then to France. But it was a topsy-turvy group. And at some point, we were down to play all 4 of them.
Yeah, we were. And unfortunately, we couldn't. I mean, we all spoke that before a ball was kicked in tonight's games. We was already talking about, we have to face one of these big boys at some point, i.e., Germany, France, and potentially Portugal.
Yes.
And you know what? They all gave themselves credit in this group. This group of death could have been absolutely bombardment, where Hungary picked up no points and nobody really cared about some of the games because it didn't matter which way it was. The interest was on whoever got England. And tonight, I think we saw from all 4 of them, before the full-time whistles were blown and we knew what the scores were at the latter stages of this game, when it was changing. I think it changed like 4 times in 5 minutes with goals going in all over it. You brought this to me first, and I agreed with you, Chris, was that all 4 of them, no matter who finished second in the end, and obviously we know in the end we're going to have a good old grudge match to face in Germany. But at every point in that game, you looked at all 4 of them, and while it was exciting to watch, you saw chunks in the armour of all 4 clubs.
Yeah, the one I would have least wanted to play, we've avoided, which was France.
Yeah, but then again, if they'd have for them to have come second, they would have had to have lost tonight, and Hungary would have had to have won. And if that had happened, even though they're still an ominous and very world-class side, like we said, you've seen enough to go, well, if that's how they can perform. And remember, they're the team that drew with they gave Hungary the chance, weren't they? They drew with Hungary. So like I said, like you said as well, looked and going, not ideal, but we can beat them. And knowing the games at Wembley kind of gives us that impetus edge going into it, no matter who it was. And in the end, I know on the show when we looked over the England game, I went with Portugal, saying that would probably be the better option. Looking at it on paper, I'm actually really happy because I completely forgot it would obviously be at Wembley. That having the home advantage against the Germans is going to be quite entertaining, and I really do fancy us to get past Germany of what I've seen of them.
The Germans, they have looked. I mean, let's just. I mean, this is the group that we know we're going to play the Germans now. Portugal looked good at the start. They put 3 past Hungary without reply. The France-Germany game. I mean, France won it 1-0, but neither of those two sides impressed in that game at all. Then France couldn't get past Hungary and were lucky. They went 1 behind and got 1-1. Germany came back, in fairness, with that 2-4 win over, 4-2 win over Portugal. Which,
and then tonight got saved tonight.
Yeah, because, they were lucky to get a draw off Hungary, who were the least fancied teams, let's be honest with you. And if you're a Hungary fan, you look at that group, you just go, bloody hell. What are we going to do in that group? And
let's not forget, at one point tonight, we weren't just going to lose Germany from the tournament. We were losing Portugal from the tournament because they wouldn't have qualified for third place.
No, you're quite right. Yes.
I think England fans probably watched that. If they watched the game like me and you did, mate, and were flicking between the both, would have seen, well, why it's Germany and we nearly got the full benefit of getting Hungary. Even though you'd have then turned around and then been arguing, well, we've got to be careful with Hungary because they would have beaten Germany and they would have got a draw against. Well, they did get a draw against France, but we would have been talking about a Hungary side that's just beaten Germany and held the world champion, so we can't take it too granted. But like you said, everything was on the cards, and from what we've seen tonight, there is definitely armour to be damaged in Germany. I think we can beat them.
I'm confident, to be honest with you. Yeah,
more confident than I was before the tournament, because I think we all forgot that these guys have to go out and put on a performance against each other. Everybody looked at this group and went, it's group of death, so them 3 will fight it out. No one really cares, and Hungary are going to come bottom. And while that technically played out, I think we kind of forgot that these nations actually give a damn about where they finish because they want to be playing better opposition to a degree, or they want to be qualifying with a better advantageous draw. So I think we kind of forgot that these guys would have gone all out and probably played the more expansive football for it.
Let's be honest, Germany will be pleased they've got us because they have got the old witch's eye over us. So Germany won't be disappointed. But I'm not overly upset at that. Now, just very quickly before we go, these were our third place qualifiers. So we said Germany, well, they're through anyway. So, Turkey. We've at least said about them the better. Sweden went through as group winners, obviously in Group E. And, who's that at the bottom?
Well, at least North Macedonia were good at doing one thing for us, and that was getting all 4 of them out, because none of them are in the third playoff.
I mean, do you remember what you said about North Macedonia? I won't play it again, Brad. I won't play it again. So I think we ended up with 10 right. So and there's 6 groups, isn't there?
Yeah.
Help me out here.
I don't think
4 6s are 24. 4 6s, So we got 10 out of 24. So, we were probably at around 45% there. So
I don't think that's a bad return, considering we put a certain outlandish prediction, and we probably...
Yes, I think it was the North Macedonia that cost us a few points there. I think without North Macedonia, we might have been over the 50.
Yeah, and to be fair, we tried to go without the norm. We tried to look at this as like you said, a bit of a fantasy thing, which is why we probably put a few teams causing some upsets elsewhere as well.
It was a laugh, wasn't it, at the end of the day? Yeah. It was a laugh. But Brad, thank you very much. Thank you for coming on and taking the flak and accepting the North Macedonia video. It might just pop up again. It might. Never say never, as James Bond once said.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
Brad, mate, thanks very much. Have a good weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday when we play the Germans.
Yeah, hopefully it's not terrible to talk about. I hope for that it's not terrible. So no, I just said not terrible, mate. I don't want to be talking about us and penalties. I really don't.
No, well, we never know. Right, mate. Well, thank you very much. Have a really good weekend.
And you, mate. Look after yourself as well.
And you. And I will see you on Tuesday night.
I'll see you then, mate.
Cheers, then. Thanks so much to Brad there. My another wise one is he's the clever one next to me. You know, I'm. How can I put this? He is the Piers Morgan. I am the Susanna Reid. Therefore, because I'm the prettier, obviously, it goes without saying. Right, we're going to be back tomorrow night, and we'll be back after this.
You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris and Chumps. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. All you need for everything Leicester City FC. It's Leicester Till I Die TV. Please subscribe now on YouTube.
So tomorrow night at 7, we've got the return of Leicester Wars. We have got Craig and Dean are going to be coming on, and they are going to be picking their Premier League team of the 2021 season. Who will they pick? How many Leicester players will get in that Premier League team? There's no, you can have 10 from one team if you want, but will they agree? And if they don't agree, yours truly will have to play judge, jury, and hangman, probably. So it's Craig versus Dean, the rematch, because they've already had a go at each other once. And we're going to be picking, well, none of that on here, I'll tell you. Picking our team, Premier League team of the season. Could be interesting. We could get a couple of Leicester players in there, haven't we? We'll find out. Friday, 7 o'clock, we will be here for the Euro Review group stage, a serious one. Tonight was a bit of fun, was a bit of a laugh. Brad's North Macedonia prediction. That kind of sums up tonight's show. But Friday, we're doing the serious one. It's a bit of a joke going there. An Englishman, Scotsman, and Welshman walks into a video chat room, and what happens? Find out on Friday at 7 o'clock. Thanks very much for watching, guys. As always, we couldn't do it without you. Please, 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 if you do get a chance, press that subscribe button. And if your dog's got an account, get him subscribed as well. See you tomorrow night at 7. Stay safe. Good night.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all them social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Some people are on the pitch, they think it's all over. It is now.
To an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.